Mr. Amatrano? I'd like to call this meeting of the Coventry Town Council to order at 6:30 PM. Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Capaldi.
Here.
Councilmember Shockley.
Here.
Councilmember Pasqua.
Here.
Vice President LeBlanc.
Here.
President Lima.
Here. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation. Is that you? Oh, okay. Oh, boy. Okay. As long as you're set from the G-forces, that pledge. The emergency evacuation plan, in the event of an emergency, those present this evening can exit outdoors labeled either 1 or 2 in the back of council chambers and go out to the front parking lot or front lawn or back parking lot of town hall. We'll now move on to meeting minutes from prior meetings. We have 5 sets of minutes this evening: March 12th, 2024 open session, April 30th, 2024 open session, May 2nd, 2024 open session, April 9th, 2024 executive session, and May 2nd, 2024 executive session. Do I hear a motion to take the minutes as a block?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Vice President LeBlanc.
Second.
Second by Councilman Pasco. Any discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua.
Yes.
Councilmember Capaldi.
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley.
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc.
Yes.
President Lima.
Yes.
5 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative. Motion passes.
Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes?
Make the motion.
Motion by Vice President LeBlanc.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Shockley. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, did you receive any edits? Okay. There's no further discussion. Please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua.
Yes.
Councilmember Capaldi.
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley.
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc.
Yes.
President Lima.
Yes.
5 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative. Motion passes.
At this time, we'll take public comment on docketed items only, those items on our agenda this evening. Please come forward to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and turn the microphone on. Preferably in the opposite order that I said that.
Good evening.
Make sure the mic's on. Just flip.
Yep,
Yep.
got it. Good evening. Jerry Narkowitz, 21 Beach Street, Coventry, Rhode Island. Thank you for letting me speak this evening. I'm going to reiterate what I said the previous week. I was sort of hoping I could speak after the presentation on what the town manager was hoping to accomplish. But I guess that isn't the way that goes. Will I be allowed to speak after he conducts his discussion about the
Yeah,
link?
sure. If you want to come up at the last public comment, you're welcome to.
So that would be tonight at the end of the evening.
Yeah.
So let me just, I'll reiterate what I said the past week. Some of you weren't here. We've had some serious problems at the lake. First of all, newest result is we've had a bacterial problem. First result was about 180 high, not allowed swimming. Was posted not to swim, but the lake was still open and people were swimming without any kind of recourse. I'm not sure how that works. Since then, DEM or Department of Health has taken another sample and that sample has come back much better. Still a little high, but not out of the realm of possibilities for the temperatures that's going on. So I'm going to start with just the items that I quoted last week and any additional information I can think of. First of all, I'm hoping we're going to have some street ticketing or towing when the gates become closed at 7 p.m. starting July 1. And I'm hoping that the cars and the people that are in the facility after 7 p.m. at closing will be escorted out by whoever is in charge, whether that's the police or whether that is the individual who's in charge of the gate. Cleanup of the beach, it has been a mess. It has been a real mess. And if you don't feel bad for Parks and Rec with their limited resources, you should, because it is not a great look for our beach. And I will tell you that the people that go there, I think they're being pretty nice. They take all their trash and they put it at the cans, and they stack it all in front of the cans after the cans are totally filled and overfilled. To me, that's a pretty nice quality. Why aren't there more cans? Volume of music. I guess we had another really bad night. Not last night, but the night before. Not as bad as the night that we had the 6 police cars there. But it was still bad enough to elicit phone calls from various people and also discussions with me as the president of the Lake Association. I'm not sure why that goes on like that. And speaking to the police officer the night of the real bad one, he said it did not violate the ordinance associated with the decibel level. And I'm betting he caught it when it was reduced, but if it shakes your windows in your house and your house is 300-400 feet away, makes it pretty loud. The gate attendant, is he going to enforce alcoholic drinking, smoking marijuana, smoking cigarettes? Not sure. I'm sure hopeful, because I don't think that's allowed in a public park in the state of Rhode Island. I'm hoping you're going to charge a fee for people to get in there, whether it's the town residents get to buy a beach pass for $10 a season or whatever it is, and that people who don't live in town pay an excess amount, very much like Narragansett Beach does, or many other places. Without that cost, this is not going to work. It's not going to work at all. We're going to have the exact same thing happening, and the police are going to get called to go over there any number of times over the summer. I know they have arresting power. I know they have that. But it sure wasn't presented that way to me that night at the beach. It was not presented that way. And I was a little disheartened by the fact that a police officer said, well, we really can't do much about that. I mean, smoking marijuana right there, that's okay. It's not okay, but we can't really do much about that. What is your policy to remove people after 7 o'clock when they look at a police officer and they say, yeah, we're not leaving. We're not leaving. It is really disgraceful. So I don't really have much more to say. Those are all things that I've repeated from the last week. They should be on your agenda from before. Maybe I'll stay and wait until the end and see if I can refute or accept the recommendations of the town manager. I don't know if you're allowed to speak to me, or maybe we can't even do that anymore. So, do you all have questions for me?
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Are there any members in council chambers who'd like to make a public comment on docketed items? On Zoom, any members of the public on Zoom, please raise your hand to be let in to make a public comment. State your name and address for the record. Going once, twice, 3 times. Public comment on docketed items is closed. Moving to licenses, we have, is that 1 or 2, Madam Clerk? Oh, okay, it just says A. Gotcha, okay. So should we be approving these separately? Yeah, okay. 2 licenses this evening. 1, new mobile food establishment license, Axelrod's Fry Shack LLC, Joseph Beauvais, 303 Main Avenue, Warwick, Rhode Island. Do I hear a motion to approve the license?
Make the motion.
Motion by Vice President
Second.
Blank, second by Councilmember Shockley. Is anyone here to represent this? Did we determine that? Okay. Madam Clerk, any comments on this license? All set? Any further discussion from the council? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua, Councilmember Capaldi,
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley,
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc,
Yes.
President Lima,
Yes.
5 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, motion passes.
And new movable food establishment license, Rah Rah Surf Shack LLC, same owner. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by
Second.
Vice President LeBlanc, second by Councilmember Shockley. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, this license is all set. Thank you. No further discussion. Please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua,
Yes.
Councilmember Capaldi,
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley,
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc,
Yes.
President Lima,
Yes.
5 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, motion passes.
Moving on to election and our appointment of town officials. We have some town council appointments this evening. First up, we have the Conservation Commission. We have 2 seeking reappointment and 1 opening. Madam Clerk, I don't think any of these candidates have come before us before for this commission.
I don't believe in your term they have.
Okay. I believe Deanna O'Brien is on Zoom. Mr. Amatrano, if you want to let her in or have her raise her hand. Good evening. If you just want to introduce yourself. Can you hear us? Hello? Oh.
Yeah, I
Sorry,
can
it's
hear
a-
you. Can you hear me okay?
No, the connections, we can barely hear you. Sorry.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, we just can't hear you. Is Matthew Towley here? I know Mr. Pendergast is here. Did you want to come up and just introduce yourself and talk about your interest in the Conservation Commission? Just make sure the microphone's on and state your name and address for the record, please.
Hello, everyone. Tom Pendergast, 6 White Rock Road, Coventry, Rhode Island. I am interested in rejoining the Conservation Commission. I believe that my experience speaks for itself and that I would be an asset to the town in that capacity.
Any questions, discussion for
If
Mr.
any-
Pendergast?
If anybody would like to know some history, some of you I know extremely well, some okay, and some not at all. But if you want, I'll give you 30 seconds on what I've done and why my qualifications. Great. So I'm the vice president of the Upper Dam Pond Conservation Association. Was founded in 2020 to remove aquatic invasive species from Upper Dam Pond or Breezy Lake. The town residents could not use that lake for boating, swimming, or fishing. And our association cleaned the lake, and it is now one of the hot spots with its own beach, lots of kids fishing, boating, and swimming. And that was done through the association work and the work that I led. So with that, we took that success to Middle Dam Pond, which is an 8-acre lake south of Upper Dam Pond, which had the same symptoms. I created an association there, and they have started treating that lake now, and the weeds are disappearing. On top of that, I worked with Maria to build a path to Middle Dam Pond because the town in recent years had given up its right-of-way on Benoit Street through some court action. So we built this path through town property with the approval of the town and Maria so that the town would have access now to this lake, 8 acres and free of weeds. So I'm also instrumental in working with Save the Lakes, where I am secretary and a member of the board of directors. And we petitioned the Rhode Island Senate and the Rhode Island House of Representatives in their houses to get the first legislation for lake management that this state has ever had. Every other state in New England has a management plan of some kind for lakes. Rhode Island did not have one, and it passed unanimously because of the work that Save the Lakes, myself, and teammates did. And then the last one I'll tell you is I'm currently working now with the town directors, who I know extremely well. I know all the directors very well. working with the directors and with the Environmental Protection Agency to create a stormwater system called SCMs, which will remove not only the sediment from the stormwater, which comes roaring into the lake, but also the phosphorus that creates a problem for the aquatic invasive species. So that's in a pilot stage, working with the EPA to do that. Wherein a SNEP grant was completed. If we get that money, then we can move forward. So I think that my passion around lake management and what I can bring to the Conservation Commission here would be worth another try.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Pendergast? Thank you very much. Any discussion from members of the council on these candidates? Vice President LeBlanc?
First, I just wanted to say thank you to Mr. Pendergast for all the work that you do and the Upper Dam Pond Conservation Association. Not only what you do for the town, but also for District 3. So I just want to say thank you for that. I would make a motion to appoint Mr. Pendergast to this Conservation Commission.
We have a motion on the floor from Vice President LeBlanc to appoint Mr. Pendergast.
Second.
Second from Councilman Pasqua. Any discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua.
Yes.
Councilmember Capaldi.
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley.
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc.
Yes.
President Lima.
Yes.
5 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative. Motion passes.
And we have 2 other candidates on here seeking renewals. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Vice President Blank to reappoint.
Second.
Second by Councilman Pasqua. Any discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua.
Yes.
Councilmember Capaldi. Councilmember Shockley.
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc.
Yes.
President Lima.
Yes.
5 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative. Motion passes.
Moving on to the Coventry Housing Authority, we have 1 candidate seeking reappointment, Phil Casacalenda. Mr. Casacalenda, do you want to come forward? Just introduce yourself. Just just flick it up. Make sure it's up. There you go. And just state your name and address for the record.
Philip Casacalenda, 12 Kingfisher Drive, Coventry, Rhode Island.
And this is a reappointment. How long have you been on the Housing Authority?
10 years, I believe.
Okay.
So
Any questions, discussion for Mr. Casacalenda? Vice President LeBlanc.
I would just make a motion to reappoint.
Second.
Motion by Vice President LeBlanc, second by Councilman Pasqua. Any discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua.
Yes.
Councilmember Capaldi.
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley.
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc.
Yes.
President Lima.
Yes.
5 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative. Motion passes.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yep.
Moving on to Friends of Human Services, there are 3 candidates seeking reappointment. Joan DeGregory, Florence Martinelli, and Steve Glover. Are any of those folks here this evening? Hi. Mic check, 1 2 1 2. Just state your name and address for the record, please.
Okay, my name is Steve Glover, 79 Indian Trail, Coventry, Rhode Island. Yes, ask me some questions. I'd like to say one thing before I start. You guys ought to be so happy that you have Bob Robillard, the leader over there, because he is amazing with the grants he gets and getting all the people together. It's outstanding. He's a hero. Believe me when I tell you guys, I worked there on Wednesday, my favorite day of the week. I got them baking cookies for me. I go around to every table singing to them. It's a riot over there. And the services that we give them, that's unbelievable. I love it. You know? And I just want to say, go ahead, ask me anything. I just love it. I tell you, I love it.
Are there
I'm happy to work for the Senior Senate in Coventry, Rhode Island. Believe me.
any questions for Mr. Glover? Councilman Shockley.
Yes.
So I have no questions for you, Mr. Glover, but I will say, I believe I interviewed you back when the world was closed down at the senior center, and you had this same level of excitement to be there. So really appreciate volunteers for everyone tonight. Really appreciate that people are volunteering their time to help the community. And we agree with you that Mr. Robillard is an amazing asset to our team as
Amazing
well.
man, amazing man. That's why I love working for that gentleman. Anything else? You can ask me all the kinds of questions. All right,
Vice President LeBlanc.
run.
Just want to make sure you're not running for mayor, correct? You're running. Just, I'm just.
I get in too much trouble.
I'll make
So-
them.
This is it for me. This is the top for me, you guys.
Sorry. In all seriousness, I make a motion to reappoint all three.
Motion by Vice President LeBlanc.
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Shockley. Any discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua,
Yes.
Councilmember Capaldi,
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley,
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc,
Yes.
President Lima,
Yes,
5 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, motion passes.
thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, folks.
Have a great night.
Bye.
Pipe down.
When you start volunteering, you can
gallery.
have the cookies.
Kent County Water Authority, we have one candidate for renewal, Mr. Ken Mason. Welcome. Mr. Mason, I believe you have an update for us on Water Authority activity.
Yes. Thank you for having me back after my 3-month tenure has expired. Hopefully I'll get another few months. Yeah, I just wanted to give you a quick update on what's going on at the Kent
Just state
County.
your name and address for the record for me.
Ken Mason, 13 Sharon Drive.
Thank you.
Just wanted to give you a quick update. Kent County Water has successfully transitioned over to their new building for the office and the maintenance facility. The office and administrative staff is completely over there now. That's located at 35 Technology Way, right in West Greenwich. Same phone number as before. You know, they've even got a pay kiosk there now where you can go up and pay your bills by cash, credit card, or check. And everything's working out very smoothly. I think the maintenance facility will be over there by the end of the month, the end of next month. At today's board meeting, the fiscal 25 budget was reviewed and approved by the board members. Currently, there are no rate increases on the books for the Kent County Water Authority. As you know, it's PUC regulated, so it would have to be approved by them after they go through it all. It looks like the Kent County Water will be probably filing a rate increase, and they'll be filing it probably in the fall. They're still working it all out, but a lot of it has to do with what Providence Water has for wholesale rates to us. And also, the biggest increases could possibly be with the treatment plant upgrades that they're going to be required by EPA for the PFAS chemicals, the forever chemicals that are prevalent in the in the Quonset area wells that they've got. Other than that, there's just one small project being done in Coventry right now, and that's the Mapledale and Albro Lane. That should be done probably within the next week, and that's being done in order to assist the town to pave those two roads. And the biggest project that they've got going on right now is they're trying to complete phase 1 of Cohasset Avenue in West Warwick. And phase 2, which will be happening this summer, they're going to be doing night work instead of during the day. So we're not going to have the big bypasses and road closures. So other than that,
Can you tell them to get off my morning commute on Centerville Road?
that's actually National Grid that's there. That's not,
I thought Kent
Kent-
County was doing
Kent
work
County
there.
Water did work, but they're completed there.
Oh,
It's National Grid that's there now, and DOT will be milling and paving that road in the fall.
okay,
So
thanks.
you're welcome.
Any questions for Mr. Mason? Vice President LeBlanc?
You mentioned a rate increase potentially being filed. Now, does that go first to a vote by the board that you're on?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify that. I'll make a motion to reappoint. Mr.
Motion
Mason.
by Vice President LeBlanc,
A second.
second by Councilwoman Capaldi. Any discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua,
Yes.
Councilmember Capaldi,
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley,
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc.
Yes.
President Lima.
Yes.
5 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, motion passes.
Moving to Library Board of Trustees, we have two candidates seeking reappointment, Gloria Martins and Colleen Duffy Golick. Are either of those folks here? Oh, we have one. Just come forward to the podium, state your name and address for the record, introduce yourself.
Colleen Duffy Golak.
Just make sure the microphone's on. Welcome. Any questions for this candidate? Vice President LeBlanc?
Can you just let us know why you're seeking reappointment?
Because I think the library is very important to the town, and I think it offers so many things that people don't really realize. I've been doing this for a number of years, and I'd like to continue doing.
Appreciate your service. I'll make a motion to reappoint both.
Motion by Vice President LeBlanc,
Second.
second by Councilmember Shockley. Any discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Capaldi,
Yes.
Councilmember Pasqua,
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley,
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc.
Yes.
President Lima.
Yes.
5 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, motion passes.
Thank you.
Patuxent River Authority, we have one candidate seeking reappointment, Paul Lockett. Is Paul here? Hi, Paul. You just want to come on forward, just state your name and address for the record. Make sure the microphone's on.
Paul Lockett, 5 Jessica Lee Court here in Coventry, Rhode Island.
Welcome. How long have you been on the authority?
I've been on the authority for 17 years, 5 here in Coventry. I used to live in Cranston and I was very active since 2007.
Gotcha. Any questions, discussion for this candidate? Vice President LeBlanc?
First, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
And second, I'll make a motion to reappoint.
Motion by Vice President LeBlanc,
Second.
second by Councilman Pasqua. Any discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua,
Yes.
Councilmember Capaldi,
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley,
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc.
Yes.
President Lima.
Yes.
5 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Moving on to the Zoning Board of Review, we have 3 candidates seeking renewal. Keith Cloutier, Leonard Doug, and Ron Pelletier. Any of those folks here this evening?
Good evening.
Just make sure the
Ron-
microphone's on and state your name and
um,
address for the record.
Okay, I think it's on.
Okay,
Should be
great.
on. Ron Pelletier, 8 Sunset Lake Circle. I've been on the board for a year. Been very enjoyable. Working with Doug has been a super pleasure. He's fantastic, very professional guy. Before this, I was on the planning board for about 11 years. So this was a little bit of a change, but it's been really enjoyable.
Great. Any discussion, questions for this candidate? Vice President LeBlanc?
Thank you for your service on both boards. I'll make a motion to reappoint all 3.
Motion by Vice President LeBlanc,
Second.
second by Councilman Pasqua. Any discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua,
Yes.
Councilmember Capaldi,
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley,
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc.
Yes.
President Lima.
Yes.
5 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. And moving on lastly to the Planning Commission, we have 1 full opening and we have 4 candidates. We've already heard from Mr. Angel and Mr. Skirka. 2 new applications came in after we publicly posted. Donald Labriole and John Studley IV. Is Mr. Labriole here? Want to come forward? Just state your name and address for the record.
I am Donald Fabrioli. I live at 16 Nicole Lane, Coventry, Rhode Island. What do you need? I don't.
Yeah, just to introduce yourself and talk about your interest in the board.
I'm interested in the board. It's just something that I've always been interested in. I own my own business. I have 5 state licenses, master pipe fitter, electrician, excavator operator, irrigator. I own a business with 14 employees. I'm the CAD designer, estimator, babysitter. I totally should have before. Basically, we do all aspects of irrigation systems, from Major League Baseball to ag to golf to tennis to residential. Just something I've been interested in, and if I could help, I would be glad to.
Any discussion questions for the candidate? Vice President LeBlanc?
Just 2 questions. First, how long have you lived in Coventry?
Since 1996.
Since 1996. Long time. Thank you for that. And then just curious, would you be interested in any other boards if you were not appointed tonight to this board?
Probably just as
To zoning. Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Any other discussion questions for Ms. Labrio? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Studley? Welcome. Just make sure the mic's on and state your name and address for the record, please.
John Studley, 66 Indian Trail.
Welcome. Go ahead.
Thank you. Okay, yeah, so I'll start with my experience. I have a degree in sociology and community planning. I was the associate planner in the town of Coventry for about 3 years, just shy of 3 years. My responsibilities in that role, I started out very green, really new to the whole planning world, but I quickly learned the ropes, worked under 2 directors, and in that time my role expanded. By the end of it, I was working as the support staff for the zoning board, the planning commission itself, the historic preservation commission, and the land trust. So I kind of have a lot of experience in a lot of different facets of the planning world. About a year ago, I did take a new position as town planner in the town of East Greenwich. And in that time, I've just continued to expand my knowledge of planning in the planning world. Let's see. As far as why I want to be on this board, I had told the town manager when I was going to be taking the new position that I have skin in the game. I want this community to succeed. I'm a young person. My fiance and I, we just built our new dream home. We are going to be starting a family here. So we want to see this community succeed. We want to get involved. We want to stay involved, and we're in this for the long haul. So I think one way to kind of give back and make sure that we have a seat at the table is by being a part of this board.
Thank you. Any questions, discussion for Mr. Studley? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Discussion from the council? Councilmember Shockley?
Do we know the district breakdown of the planning commission currently?
The clerk wouldn't have to answer that.
Durant, do you happen to know what district different members of the planning commission had?
I don't believe we have them listed as districts. It's just a.
No, we know they're not district designated.
what
We just
addresses?
want to know, I think Councilmember Shockley's looking to see.
I'm just
if-
looking to see how spread out people are. You know, planning has to work with any project that's happening in town. And I think different parts of Coventry are very different than other parts of Coventry. And I wouldn't want to be overly saturated in one area of town.
I can give you everybody's address. I mean, who's on the
I
plan?
guess we can get a sense there.
Yeah, well, 21 Covington Road.
That's 2.
All right. 2 Watercress Court. 607 Black Rock Road.
That's 3.
Weaver Hill. That's 1. Bank Street.
No, not me. Yeah, that's 2. Yep.
Red Maple Road.
That's 5.
Flat River Road.
2.
5/7/10.
Oh,
That's
that's one. Oh, okay, yeah.
26 Mohawk Street.
That's 4.
Okay. So you've got 3 and 2. You got 2 and 1. You got 1 and 4, 1 and 3, and 1 and 5.
That's pretty spread out. Yeah.
And that was impressive. I never would have been able to do that.
I love a map. Any further discussion from the council? Vice President Blake.
Well, first, I just want to say thank you for the 4 individuals that want to commit time to the Planning Commission. It's always great to see a decent amount of names rather than just 1 or 2. Second of all, where I currently work, when an employee works for us and then leaves but comes back, we refer to them as boomerangs, and we love them because it means that they missed it and they missed us so much that they came back. So to me, that hits home. So I would like to throw out, I would like to nominate John Studley.
Second. Motion by Vice President Blank to appoint John Studley, second by Councilwoman Capaldi. Any discussion on the motion? Vice President Blank.
And I just want to state that I respect you being here tonight, sir. And I also want to say I really like the experience that you have. You know our town. You're currently doing it for another town. I wish it was still Coventry, but I appreciate that you still want to be involved.
I'd echo those sentiments. Do we know when we have any expirations coming up on appointments for zoning or any more planning? When's the next one?
Have 1 member who will be up for appointment in May of 2025. After that, we have 3 in 2026.
That's zoning or planning?
That's planning.
About zoning.
Zoning. So zoning is, we just reappointed 3.
Mhm.
So the next one would be May 31st of 2025.
Okay. Okay. Any further discussion? Yes, thank you to all of our applicants. I think I particularly appreciate, again, the sentiments that Vice President Blank mentioned, and also the fact that it's a planner in another municipality who's undergoing the same big housing legislation changes. I think that'll be a really big added benefit for us. So thank you. If there's no further discussion, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua. Councilmember Capaldi.
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley.
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc.
Yes.
President Lima.
Yes.
5 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative. Motion passes.
Moving on to report of the town manager, we have 2 items, update on Briar Point and informational session on Johnson's Pond. Mr. Parrillo.
So I sent an email out to Mr. Knockowitz in the group that had emailed me and reached out. So I just want to reiterate some of the things we're looking to do. So we're trying to hire a part-timer to close the gate at night. So that role is going to be Monday through Friday, a couple hours at night. He closes the gate, gets the people out of there. If he or she, right now the person I'm looking at is a he, but we'll go he or she. They will utilize the police department if they have to, get people out of there, and the gate's going to be locked. There's going to be no way to manipulate it open like there is now. So that this part-timer is going to be responsible for closing it at night and then opening it up Saturday and Sunday and closing it Saturday and Sunday. Their main role is going to be to clean the bathroom areas, pick up any large trash if there is some, but he's not or she's not going to be monitoring the beach during the day. It's a part-time role. So there's no plan right now to charge a fee or have a full-time gate attendant. We don't have that right now currently in the budget to do that. We did go out to bid to try to get someone to do that. I think we put the bid out too late and we did not get any responses to pretty much manage the Briar Point Beach like other beaches are managed. I was there with Raina yesterday. It was in good shape. We added 4 additional barrels for trash. We're having the lights on the side of the building fixed and the giant floodlight in the front. We're going to put a timer on that so that place gets illuminated at night, so there's no tendency for people to hang there if it's brightly lit. Also help the police clear people out. I don't like them going in there when it's really dark, just for officer safety purposes. We are ordering new signs for no smoking, no drinking, to be more prominent. Met with the chief. There are very few no parking signs there now. We do plan on getting more no parking signs. We'll bring that in front of the Traffic Safety Commission to approve the additional signage. The discretion of the police is the discretion of the police. I mean, we can't tell the police to arrest people. They have their job, they know their role, they know the law. That's within their discretion. So I think the goal is to have a little bit more presence, a little bit more security, more garbage collection facilities. I'm assuming most of the activity must be at night because I was there yesterday. There were 3 people there yesterday. Brandon was there today. There were 4 people there. So there's not a lot of activity during the week. So I'm sure it's mostly weekends. But right now, we don't have any resources to put additional staff there full time or to have a gate attendant charging fees. Plus, that would have to go in front of the council for approval anyway. I couldn't do that unilaterally. So that's kind of where we are with Briar Point.
If I'm not mistaken, next to the gate, isn't there an opening in the gate where people can walk into the beach at any time?
You
Or
could
does
definitely walk in.
You can
Absolutely.
walk in at any time?
Yes,
Okay, so people could still park on the streets and pile in that way.
they could walk in, correct.
Can
That's why the no
we-
parking signs, I think, are
Can
going to
we
be
get a
paramount.
gate installed on that as well and lock that?
There's wooded areas on the sides of those gates. They could walk into the wooded areas. There's no way to fully secure Briar
Okay.
Point. To my knowledge, unless you think otherwise, Mr. Knockowitz. Yeah, I didn't think so. Yeah.
Okay. Councilmember Shockley?
So I do think the enforcement arm of this is the most important part. I think as a council, we've realized that you can set laws in place, but if no one's enforcing them, then the impetus to follow them isn't there. So I would say if we're going to put no parking signs, we should be ticketing. I think that if we are going to put that you can't drink, smoke, or
Play loud music.
then we should enforce it. Because putting up the signs, it doesn't sound, and this is just from what you've said, like this is a group that when a human comes and says leave in a police uniform, they're not leaving. Just putting up the signs isn't going to really help the situation. And if our goal is to actually help the situation, then I do think it's that enforcement arm that's the most important.
The only way that's going to happen is if we pay for a police detail to be there 8 hours a day.
I don't know that that sounds necessary. I think once people know the police are going through there and ticketing when they see cars, I think once police know that parties are getting broken, once people know parties are getting broken up, then people stop coming in such large groups at least.
Yeah.
So I think, it's like the cop, you put an empty cop car someplace and people slow down when they drive by because they think there's a chance that there could be repercussions. So I think we have to enforce those repercussions if we're going to be putting all of this in place.
Vice President Blank?
We're talking about fines. Can you let me know what's the dollar amount of the parking ticket that someone would receive?
I don't even know. Chief, do you know what a parking ticket is by chance? $10 or $15, I believe it is.
Yeah, in my opinion, we should be putting up signs that say towing, and we should be towing the cars if they're past curfew. $10 isn't going to stop this activity, in my opinion. Again, just sharing my opinions here. And then I know you mentioned we can't pay someone to sit there and collect fees, but if we're collecting fees, then some of those funds go to paying them. And I completely agree. Maybe you have some type of in-town fee versus out-of-town fees to try to stop some of, because I believe through discussion, the majority of these people are not in town. They're not residents. So if you charge a higher fee for out-of-towners, I believe other towns do it, so I think it's legal, but I'm not an attorney. So just sharing my opinions here, but a $10 ticket isn't gonna do much, I don't think.
Councilwoman Pasqua.
Going back probably maybe 25 years ago, when I went down there with my grandmother, I remember we had to show proof of residency to get in there. So there was some type of system in place way back when about entering Briar Point that, you know, and I wonder if there's something that exists somewhere in our ordinances or our books or whatever that we could look back at to try and mitigate this problem. Maybe we don't have to reinvent the wheel. But I think, you know, if need be, maybe the long-term solution is maybe some type of ordinance work town-wide, as we're considering other stuff too at the same time about residents using stuff. I mean, we hand out dump passes. It's easy to put a sticker on a windshield, and if the police come through there every now and then and look at the windshields and ticket people and say, hey, you don't have a sticker to be here, word gets out pretty quick. So I think maybe, in my opinion, that might be a route that we want to explore.
Okay.
Any additional discussion on that item? What's that?
Give us Knockwood speak now.
Yeah,
That's
yep.
why you have to
Yeah,
wait
go ahead.
If you want to speak now,
Go ahead, Jerry.
instead of having to wait.
Sorry. Jerry Narkowitz, 21 Beach Street, Coventry, Rhode Island. Sorry. Understand what a difficult situation this is for all of you. It happens to be the backyard of maybe 50, 100 residents who can hear noise. And Dan, you didn't even speak about the noise level or the music level.
That's police enforcement. That's nothing that
I
the
got
town
it.
can do.
Yeah.
That's police enforcement.
It's disheartening. 2 nights ago, boom, same thing. Not as loud, not as loud. So, you know, maybe you sit back and you say, well, we should tolerate that. Ooh, that should be okay. It was only 8:30 at night. It should be okay. But it's not. It's not okay. It's not in keeping with what that park is all about. I remember when they used to charge. I remember they had a gate attendant. You either had a pass on your car or you paid $10 or $15 or whatever it was. Without anything like that, we are going to be in the same situation every week. And it is not just weekends. Remember what 2 nights ago was? Wednesday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday the 19th. It is almost any night that it's warm. And I know you've got a dilemma. I know you've got cost constraints. I knew when you were going to try to hire somebody that was going to be really difficult to find the right person, because that, and it can be a female, of course. Sorry. Yeah, I know. Where do we go? How do we solve the dilemma? There is one solution that you never talk about, and it's an ugly solution. You close the whole thing. You just close it. You don't even make it available anymore. If there were 57 cars in there the night of the 19th, there was 1 car from Coventry. Out of 57, there were approximately 200 people in there. I brought up the other day about fire, access. How do people get removed? I haven't seen any fights over there yet, but it's coming. It's coming. And what do you do about that? The fire truck can't get in there. Those people are going to be screaming out when there's a big fight going on. What does Coventry do about that? Yes, you send over the police, but think about the danger of that. Think about people swimming out into the water. There's no buoys saying, don't go beyond this. What if somebody struggles in the water out by Seagull Rock or whatever you want to call it today? What do you do about that? How do you get the fire truck in there? How do you get the ambulance in there? You don't have a boat on the lake. We're going down a road of some very awful potential things occurring. And boy, do I not envy your situations, because they're hard decisions. Closing the gate, closing the lake for everybody. Wow, how hard is that? How awful is that? There's a lot of people, and people from all over the place. Why not? If I had little kids, that'd be a great place to go. However, without proper supervision, without proper maintenance, and without proper control, you are leaving yourself in a situation that can be earmarked for, not a lawyer, but I think liability to the town. Imagine if somebody were drowning out there and you couldn't get the fire apparatus in, let's say 8:30 at night. Is there anything you guys want to ask me? I know why. I'm the gloom and doom guy. I feel really bad about that. I very rarely feel like this, but unless I speak strongly, I'm not sure that you can understand the dilemma that's going on there. You're not there, so it's harder for you. But I think you're going to have to come up here, Lisa, to do that. So I'll let my wife continue.
Yeah, if we could just keep it to things that we have not said already. Okay.
Lisa Knockowitz, 21 Beach Street. It is beyond me why the Coventry taxpayers want to pay for Briar Point when there is virtually nobody from Coventry there. I don't understand why the taxpayers of Coventry want to support people from other towns and cities. I don't understand it. It makes no sense to me. It should be to the benefit of Coventry taxpayers. And the situation there right now, people are afraid to go in there. So that's my last point. I think the Coventry taxpayers are getting a bad shake at Briar Point.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me speak.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Yep. Yes. On the Briar Point issue, yes.
I haven't done this in years. Kathleen DeCenzo, Mulhern Drive, off, what do you call it? Old Town Road. The other day, a tree fell on the entrance to our Mulhern Drive. And I was told it was part of the city. And while the cop was standing there, or was talking to me and other people, must have been the four-way stop, at least 12 cars fly through
Is
there.
this going, is this going to be talking about Briar Point?
No.
Yeah, this is only about Briar Point we're talking about right now.
I was told to come if I wanted, oh,
The big public comments not till the end.
oh, all right, okay. I've been here 50 years. My husband was a JC president and everything. He's deceased now. And so was I, involved with a lot of programs, haunted houses and all kinds of other things in Coventry. So, and now I'm in Mulhern Drive. We sold our home.
Yep, we're almost at that. We're gonna,
Okay,
that's
all
at
right.
the end
I
of the.
didn't know. I haven't
Nope.
been to one of these meetings.
That's okay.
In years.
No, that's okay. Thank you for coming.
Okay.
We're gonna get there soon. Thank you. Ms. Parrillo. Oh, sorry. Council Member Shockley.
I think that the council seems to be expressing an interest in other possible changes to Briar Point that probably we should have be a bigger discussion. On the short term, I would also ask that we, while putting up signs, put up swimming at your own risk, no lifeguard on duty, things like that if they're not already there. But I think the idea of charging a fee, if there's an attraction in our town that's bringing people in from other towns, maybe a fee would bring in more of the right people who really want to use the beach. I know that Parks and Rec uses that beach when the water is available for swimming. They've used it for the kids in the past. When my kids were in camp, I'd like them to be able to do that again if they're not doing it currently. So I think making it, if we're going to keep it open, let's have it be a viable beach that people can enjoy.
Yeah, that was the goal when we put the bid out, to get someone to come in, if you want to see run it, have a gatekeeper, charge fees, have activities, rent kayaks, and without the intent of the town making money, but just making it a viable recreational space for people. But again, when no one responded back to the bid, it kind of sent us backwards, not having enough time to do anything else besides kind of what we're trying to troubleshoot now, but I will look into it further.
Councilman Capaldi.
Hi. No, I don't. That's okay. You can stay there.
That reaction.
Sorry. I've never met you. I have? Oh, you were at my event. Thank you for coming. My colleagues over here had some really great ideas, and I have never heard you guys talk before. I know I get your emails. So hearing you today, I've heard a lot of, I felt more of the issues that you guys were having. But when you came back up to talk again, I didn't really hear you take into account any of these great ideas, because if we execute upon some of these ideas, a lot of the things, the horrible things that you're saying way down on this side may stop and may not ever come to fruition. So I think it's up to us to mitigate those issues by trying to implement some of these great ideas that came up. That's my thought. And I don't know if any of these ideas have ever tried to be executed.
Vice President Blank.
I fully support a future agenda item sooner rather than later on this exact topic. I'm 100% against just closing it. I think the Coventry taxpayers deserve access rights to not only Lake Tioga, but Johnson's Pond. That's one thing that I'm very adamant about with this whole taking of the pond. I want that public access. So I be against that. But I would love for this to be a main topic that we can come up with solutions that we can put into play to try to better the situation.
I'd echo those sentiments, and to me, I would want all possible options to be explored before closing or even considering closing. Not to mention, I believe both you, Mr. and Mrs. Narkowitz, have given me a hard time in the past when we haven't opened the beach. So I find it interesting. Yes, you have. When that hasn't been budgeted, you have. So I was struck that you said you wanted to close it. So to me, all options should be explored before just going to close it. I think we're on the cusp here of we've got the budget for it. It's just a matter of the staffing and the organization logistics of it. So I would like to make sure we do that first. That's it. Anything else? All right.
I just wanted to announce that July 1st, Monday night, 6 o'clock at the high school, Solicitor Angel is going to be doing an informational session on Johnson's Pond. So anything Johnson's Pond related, he can get your questions answered. He's going to give a full explanation of the process, how we got to this point, what's going to happen tomorrow in court case tomorrow, and he'll take all of your questions. So it's going to be very interactive. So I just want to let everyone know about that. Monday night, 6 p.m., high school auditorium. That's it.
Thank you. Moving on to report of other town officers and officials, Mr. Savetti, Finance Director, and Ms. Martini have a couple of updates. Yes. You may approach the bench.
Thanks.
Good evening. So just a few moments, a few reports we wanted to discuss, a few items we wanted to discuss. So just briefly, the documents I just distributed to you just shows the tax roll where we currently stand. So the 2024 tax roll, where we're currently at, we're at the point where we're ready to send the bills to printing, get them processed, and get them out in the mail. So you can see the top page there is the 24 tax roll. The tax rate, which we're currently at, we have residential real property at 15.841, real property commercial 22.267, and the tangible property rate is $20.65. Note that the tangible rate is a frozen tax rate this year. That has to be frozen. That's based on the rate we had in the 2023 tax roll. So that's a required frozen rate from the state. So overall, you have the residential and the commercial rate, you have a 3.33% increase. And the bottom line, the net tax levy is currently at 81,663,284, which represents approximately 3.7% increase from the previous year. And you can see the previous year, like I said, the previous year tax roll certification report is beneath that. So our intent is to have this tax roll certified, right? Certified tomorrow, send it to Department of Municipal Finance, get the bills printed and get those processed so that they're out in the mail in first week of July, second week of July, so that we have tax collections, which commence middle of August. So that's the tax rate where we're currently at. The second item that we wanted to discuss, which is there, plus I believe you received in an email. So as you know, we earlier in the year, starting in January, late January, we sent out notices in accordance with the town ordinance to try to recertify the individuals that are on the tax freeze. So again, in compliance with the ordinance, we sent out 2,934 letters. Based on that, we had 284 people that were removed from the tax freeze. And you can see that there's a little summary on the last page of that document that you have there. So we removed 284 people, various reasons, which you can see below. The most, of course, we had 223 individuals, taxpayers that did not show up to recertify. And again, we were just enforcing what the ordinance says. The ordinance says it's supposed to be recertified on an annual basis. So that's what we're attempting to do. We will, over the next several months, be looking more into the tax freeze, different alternatives, and some maybe just as easy as saying, okay, if we're going to continue with the tax freeze, do we recommend changing the ordinance where it's not an annual renewal? Maybe it's phasing in over 3 years, because it was quite an effort of the tax assessor's office. You know, if you stop by here any morning, there was a line from the counter out the door. And I'd like to, again, thanks Karen and her staff. They did a great job. They were patient. Sometimes we had taxpayers that weren't too happy, but for the most part, the taxpayers came in and they understood why we were doing it and presented the information. There was just some documents that when we go back to look in the files, there wasn't a lot of support there. So now we have files that are complete to support everybody that's on the tax freeze. So again, some of the statistics you see there, 2,934 letters were mailed out. We removed 284 individuals. We added to the tax freeze in the 2024 tax roll 297 individuals, properties, I should say, and total on the freeze for the 2024 tax roll, which will be the fiscal 2025, supporting the 25 budget, is a total of 2,969. I know some of the council members were interested in the breakdown. So because we went through this process, we're able to distinguish whether they're on the freeze because of the senior freeze or disability freeze. So you can see there's disability freeze is 122, senior freeze, there's 2,847. And then also out of that 2,969 that are on the freeze, there's 129 of those that also have income relief. So the total revenue that currently, as you can see on the certification that I provided, we discussed earlier, the dollar amount of the frozen taxes, 2024 tax rolls, just shy of $11 million. As a result of this process, the 284 Taxpayers that were removed from the freeze resulted in an increase in the tax bills of 365,000. So, obviously, there's gonna be some upset taxpayers, I would think, when they get their tax bill and see that the tax rating, that their taxes had increased. Again, as you could see from the list, we had people that, when they came in, they were no longer eligible. We had people that came in and removed themselves because they realized that they shouldn't have been listed and shouldn't have qualified. So unfortunately, it was a tough thing to go through. I'm sure, like I said, some taxpayers may be surprised, some may not be. I have a feeling that a lot of the ones that didn't show up, maybe not all of them, but a lot of them that didn't show up probably realized they no longer qualify. Whether they took over the property from a, mother or father or grandparent or something, but realized they didn't qualify for that freeze any longer. So, but Karen's here, she can, if you have any specific questions, she can explain in a little more detail, but that's the summary of where we're at. And, we'll continue to look at it further to give the council different options to explore.
Councilor Shapley.
Thank you for all the time you guys took to do this. This is great. Can I ask, because I don't recall when the last time this happened was?
I don't know that it ever happened.
Okay. So I have a couple questions based on that. My first question is actually about the 129 people on income relief. Does that mean that of the 2,969 people on the freeze, only 129 of them are on it because their income just is too low to pay the full property taxes? I think that's something to think on as we try to come up with some new proposals, is that it's not affordability. And do we want to keep a senior discount based on just age? And I'm not asking you about it. I'm just throwing it out there as a question to think about.
Can I just add one thing while you're on that? Correct me if I'm wrong, please, but I think also looking in there, so you have some that are on the tax freeze, right? Because they've been here 5 years, over the age of 65, but then they also qualify for the income. We had, as we were going through this process, we located some folks that haven't paid any property taxes in the past. And again, the freeze is a freeze, and then the reduction, but the reduction shouldn't get you all the way to zero.
Yeah.
At least the way I'm understanding
Just
the ordinance. So
just a theory, but this number of disabled residents and number on income relief is a very close number, and I wonder how much overlap there is there. But once again, I'm just theorizing. My actual question is, and I asked this to the council, how do we want to handle people who are on the list of people who didn't show up for something that's happened for the first time in what sounds like a very long time, but still qualify? Like, I know we've had, I've had one person reach out who didn't come in, but they qualify for this exemption as it exists currently. Do we really want to take those people off of the exemption that they're getting if they can prove that they are still eligible for it? Because I don't think that was our goal here, to take people off who are eligible. So just wondering.
I'll just make one comment first, then I'll let Karen talk in details. Some of the folks that we have, we received a number of calls, some directly to her office, some came to my office, where people right away say, okay, we got the notice, but we're in Florida till the end of April. We're in Florida till the beginning of May. The way the ordinance is written, if you don't live in town for at least 9 months, you don't qualify. So we did have some folks that, like I said, came back the end of April, told us, well, I was in Florida from January 1st until April 15th or April 20th. Well, under the ordinance, you don't qualify, so we had to remove.
That works for me. If people don't qualify, they're not really my question. It's people who didn't come, but they do still qualify.
Okay, except for the letter was very clear that if you did not show up, you would be removed. And in the ordinance, it states that you are to reapply every year.
Yeah, it's just
I
the
know
first
that it
time
was
we've
never
done it in forever.
But it's still in the ordinance.
I
Up
agree
to
with
you.
you. I'm not questioning that in any way. Really what I'm saying is, what's our intent? Was our intent to take people off because they didn't come in, but they do qualify? And I'm just wondering, because we're going to have people once the tax bill comes out there's going to be more people reaching out once the tax bill comes out. And it just seems like a question to answer now.
Yeah,
as a
I think the
council.
reason behind why we did this was for accountability purposes. not to say that if they do qualify, they can't go back on next year, but for this one window of taxes, I think they have to remain off it because they didn't come in and certify. I think that's the way we should move forward. Obviously, the council has the final say on that, but I think that the purpose behind this was to identify people, have the accountability, know the numbers and how we move forward. $11 million in frozen property is a lot. So it's obviously the council is going to decide how they want to move forward, but I think this should stay in place just for accountability because there are people that didn't show up and may not have had any reason, just didn't want to show up. So it's tough to tell.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not disagreeing with a single point any of you is making. I'm really just saying, is that our intent? Was it to take them off because they didn't show up? This 1 year, the first year we've done this, since they've probably been on this tax freeze. And I just want to make sure that we're going into it with eyes wide open when residents are mad and that we don't suddenly change our minds because, oh, okay, this is more mad residents than we expected.
Vice President Blank?
Hypothetical here. I'm one of the 284 that got removed and I get my tax bill. Am I allowed to, within a certain time period, come and appeal that tax bill and say that I should have had the senior tax freeze? And is there any type of meeting? Is that a possibility? Or because of this process, because of the way that the ordinance is written, it's an absolute no?
You can't appeal to me on a bill.
Okay.
You can appeal the value of your property. to
Correct.
me.
Mhm.
You can't appeal.
You can't appeal the rate,
the
is what you're
amount
saying.
of money
You
that
can only appeal the assessed value, is what I'm
Yes.
hearing.
Yes.
Okay, I was just throwing it out there for anybody listening.
And can I just
That was my
clarify one-
assumption, but one thing, because I feel like Councilmember Shockley is asking the council kind of their feelings on these 284. 2,934 letters went out. It's less than 10% that's being removed. They are being removed for various reasons listed. We have an ordinance just because it wasn't followed in the past. I don't think that makes it okay for them to continue to get a benefit that they don't deserve and or follow an ordinance that they're supposed to be following for the benefit. So I'm okay with it.
Yeah, and just to dovetail on that, this is, and I think I've talked about this with the both of you, that a senior tax freeze is only done in what, maybe 2 or 3 communities in all of Rhode Island. So, and from what I've talked about with Miss Martini, the applications for our senior tax freeze are doubling every year. Like the word is out that we freeze at 65 and we droves coming to live here at 60 for the 5-year residency requirement. So they can then get, or joining somebody who already lives here. So I agree with Vice President LeBlanc's sentiments. There needs to be personal accountability for such a substantial tax benefit or abatement, I guess you could say. I want to thank you guys for doing this work. I know what a big lift it was. I know that how many phone calls you fielded, so I do appreciate that. I know this was at the request of the council. I do think there's still more conversation to be had about, like you said, the how often we do an exercise like this. And again, I do think that there's a larger conversation here about what this does to the overall mix of the tax base and the health of the budget for everybody. So there's a larger conversation to be had. I don't know what our options may be. We can talk about that, but again, to answer Councilor Shockley's question, I think there's got to be a little bit of personal accountability here. So that's all. Yes, Mr. Svetti.
If I can just add 2 more comments. As far as trying to accommodate taxpayers, I also want it to be known that Karen and her staff, they visited about 75 houses to try to get the paperwork from people that couldn't make it here. So they went to the houses. So we tried to do everything possible to get everybody certified that was on those letters, that received the letters. And then to your point, Council President, when you talk about the numbers, I'll run through briefly. We tried looking back and how many that are on this freeze, when did they come on the freeze, or what tax year they're frozen. So we have 267 taxpayers that are frozen at the 2000 tax rates. So they're frozen back to 2000, still on it. So that's 24 years later. Now just go from 2000, 1 year at a time, straight down. So then you're 30 in 2001, 46 in 2002, 75 in 2003, 69 in 2004, 55, 54, 60, 111, 81. When you get to 2012, as you mentioned, you start seeing a lot of the increases. So 2012, we have 117 people that got on in 2012, 128 and 13, 149 and 14, 153 and 15, 151 in 2016, 152 in 2017, 2018 dropped back a little to 113, 2019, 169, 2020, 252, 2021, 195, 2022, 189, and 2023, 297. So as you mentioned, you see
Articulating.
that number continue to climb. We know the state of Rhode Island is an older population, you know, and if you do have this benefit, obviously Coventry's a nice place, the open space, the land, everything else you're getting away from the big city. As you mentioned, you know, just restricts us more and more, restricts the town more and more as we're trying to raise tax revenue to support, whether it's opening Briar Point or different things within the town that we need to get accomplished. You have a smaller tax base that you're hitting for the
Yeah.
revenue.
And I just want to emphasize as well, another point Councilmember Shockley made with respect to the income threshold. I think there's a conversation that needs to be had there, an update that needs to be had there, because I do understand these seniors living on fixed incomes. That's the whole point of this. But I don't, if that hasn't been touched or explored since almost 25 years ago, then the threshold?
Yeah,
It
I have
does.
to, yeah, I have to redo the matrix every year,
Mhm.
according to cost of living increase.
Yeah. Okay. But I was really shocked at some of the phone calls I received from people who were in Florida saying, can you wait till I get back? So people who have multiple homes are looking for this tax benefit, which is wild to me. That to me defeats the entire purpose of something like this. So I found it interesting that there were people calling me outraged that they couldn't get this benefit on top of having multiple homes and not living here year round, or at least 9 months out of the year.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
Just as you consider what you'd like to do going forward, it's really hard when there are things in the ordinance that need to be policed that can't be policed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how long you're here in town for every year.
Right.
3,000 of you.
So there could be more
So
that we
the
don't know
honest
of.
people are being removed, and people who are not completely honest are not. And I just want you to just, when we
a
think
good
about
point.
this, thank you.
Any further discussion on that item? Tax abatements?
Yeah, so the second item, I believe it was sent in an email to you because it's 89 plus pages. So we didn't want to print it out this evening. But you should have received an email that, sitting with the tax collector, there's a number of old amounts that are due to the town dating back to 1999, all the way, this list primarily 2007. It hasn't, to the best of my knowledge, we can't find where there's been any write-off of old receivables going back for at least 5, 6, 7 years. So we're just trying, from the accounting side, trying to get the books updated. If you look at the, and I hate to say this word, the audited financial statements, but when you look at the audited financial statements, you'll see an allowance that we do have on the books. So we have allowed for, you know, for these delinquent taxes. So you do have a summary there. I'll just highlight a couple of them, but in total, the total amount we're proposing to be removed is $405,132.37. And again, these are because taxpayers are deceased. Primarily, there's motor vehicles, tangible taxes. Obviously, real estate, we do hold the tax sale annually, which we just went through one, great success. So this primarily isn't real estate. It's tangibles and motor vehicles. The one large one that you do see here is Coventry Building and Wrecking, $125,112. My understanding in speaking with the tax collector, there was an agreement or a settlement back to 1998 or 1999 where payments were supposed to be made to the town for tangible taxes. Those taxes were never paid. I think, well, excuse me, there was one payment made, nothing else happened. There was attempts by the town to put a lien on the property, but the real estate was under a trust, so we couldn't put a lien on the property. We couldn't go for tax sale on the property. So this 125,000 is tangible taxes. The company's no longer in business. They're not in town. The real estate's been sold, so there's nothing we can do there. So again, we're just proposing to remove these from our tax receivable listing at this time.
Are you asking for a vote?
I am.
Discussion from the council? Councilor Shockley.
I just have a question. You can sell your property when we have this many tax liens on you?
The tax liens were on, it's on tangible, so we did not have
Ah,
a lien,
what's
we
the
did not have a
difference?
lien on the property because the property was under a trust, was under a different owner. But the business itself had tangible taxes that were outstanding.
Oh.
We had this instance with another taxpayer recently where, you know, the real estate's owned by somebody else, so we couldn't go after the real estate when we're the business owner. Really, I think ultimately when you look at tangibles, and I've done this in some other communities as a consultant, your one thing is try to implement a annual license renewal for all businesses. If you, it's a lot of work for the town clerk's office. So I know she's probably cringing by me saying this, but if you have an annual license renewal, that gives you the ability to ensure that the taxes are paid. If they're not paying their taxes, whether it's tangible, motor vehicles we don't have anymore, but you know, if it's tangibles, you'd have the ability not to renew their business license and you close the doors. Right now, we have no power to collect those tangible taxes.
So what's the motion you're seeking?
My motion is to approve the list of outstanding taxes and to abate the list of outstanding taxes that was provided to you. And there's a detailed listing that has what year, taxpayer's name, what type of tax. And again, the majority of these motor vehicle taxes.
Do I hear a
generally
motion
ascertained.
from council?
Question?
Vice President Blake.
So if we don't make this motion, where do we go from here?
Continue to stay on the books and go out. Yeah. There's no change. They stay on the books. We're just looking to clear it up so that we have all these old taxes still. I will tell you, talking with the tax collector, even though if approved, these would come off the receivable reports, there's still notes that we put, the tax collector puts in next to each account, and if somebody does come back into town and tries to register a vehicle, it still has the same driver's license number, it would come up in the system of the tax.
Vice President Blake.
I heard, I think we still have the, so if we make the motion tonight, no, I hear you. And I just, as a council person, I would like to understand, do we have the ability to collect if we do abate them tonight? And I think that's a town solicitor question, it sounds like. Or maybe somebody else, but I just wanted to. Well, he's asking us to per his motion.
Councilor Shockley.
So looking, you've broken these down by people who are deceased or businesses that are out of business and bad addresses. I noticed that going back to 2018, we're only writing off deceased or out of business. Does that mean there are bad addresses that we're keeping on the rolls?
Yes, based on what was provided by the tax collector put this together for me. Those are the ones that she knows right now that we don't have any ability to collect.
Because
So we're just proposing right off
Go
the
ahead.
ones that we think there's no ability to collect at this time.
Regarding the addresses, it's my office that keeps the address file, for lack of a better word. I don't know how they did it prior to 2018-19. I got here in 2019.
So there are no bad addresses after that.
We either find them or, I mean, I guess we find them all. I don't know.
Right. Well, because my
We
thought
do a good
was,
job of updating.
my thought was I could see writing off all of the deceased or out of business. Because I don't know that we would ever be able to collect those anyway. But I just wonder how far back we should write off bad addresses, if ever.
Again, it's my understanding, I'm not an attorney, but I would ask the solicitor, I believe anything older than 10 years, we don't have the ability to collect anyway.
If we can't collect past 10 years, my thought would be we write off everything past 10 years and we write off deceased or out of business within the past 10 years. It's not a lot in the other columns, but I think if we have, it seems we have about $50,000 we could collect on a bad address, so we keep that on the books.
Councilman Pasqua.
Is there a negative financial impact to keeping this debt on the books, bond ratings, interest rates, so on and so forth?
I would say no. There is none. It's more just to clean up the records for the tax collector's office so that we have a valid list of receivables.
Councilor Shockley.
So again, I think if we look through the detail, what Ms. Martini was saying, the bad addresses are probably primarily motor vehicles. The motor vehicles, if people move and we just don't have the resources to go back.
I would just make a motion to write off all of the unpaid taxes of the deceased or out of business and write off bad addresses through 2013.
I can support that. I'll second it.
Motion by Councilor Shockley, second by Vice President LeBlanc. Any discussion on the motion?
I don't, wait, can I? I'm
Yes.
sorry. I would ask that we add to that, Coventry building and wrecking, that 125,000, we have no ability. That's separate from, if you were just looking at the two columns above, that's why I'm breaking that out separately. That's at the bottom. And that's on the page.
Oh, I think I turned that off. Write off our bad address unpaid taxes through tax year 2013. Dennis Pepin, $2,326.72, and Coventry Building and Wrecking for $125,112.
I'll second.
Motion by Councilor Shockley, second by Vice President LeBlanc. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua.
Yes.
Councilmember Capaldi.
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley.
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc.
Yes.
President Lima.
Yes.
5 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative. Motion passes.
Thank you. All right. Resolutions of the council. Item A, resolution 2024-41, approving the changes to the Coventry Community Septic System Loan Program. It's page 74 in your packet. Do I hear a motion to approve the resolution?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Vice President Blank, second by Councilman Pasqua. Discussion. Manager Parrillo.
Good evening. I'll be very brief. The changes we're seeking are to one, request an increase to the program balance to 250,000. Number
Excuse
two.
me, Doug. Can we just take the side conversation outside, please? Can you guys just go in the back for me?
The second change is to increase the program cap from 10,000 to 25,000. And the third change is to remove some local program restrictions to make the program more accessible to a greater range of residents. We've seen a lot of interest in this program. We've had in the last 4 to 5 months, 7 interested parties. They'd really like to move forward. Some of the restrictions we have on the program are the reasons why they're not. Over the course of this program, we've noted that there's generally been about one loan given a year. I think there's more interest in that if the program can meet what the need is and remove some of these restrictions. So planning staff is supportive of these changes. Any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Questions for the planning director? Councilor Shockley.
So if the person requesting this loan is in an area where they could hook up to the sewer, would they have to hook up to the sewer if they needed to replace their septic system?
Good question. I'm not intimately familiar with the rules are, but generally I know that there's a provision that if you have a septic system and the septic system is in need of repair, I think that there's a provision you have to hook up to sewer. I don't have that code right in front of me.
I think, I thought that was how it worked as well. So I just wanted to confirm that this is for people who would need to get a new septic
Yep.
system. They don't have another.
Yep.
option.
And I believe this same program can be used for loans to connect to sewer. It's a separate set of code that would mandate a sewer connection under certain circumstances. But this program can not only be used to repair a facility, a septic facility, but if you're in a position where you can then transfer to town sewer, the loan can be used for that work.
That was my next question. So thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions, comments on the resolution? Hearing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua, Councilmember Capaldi,
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley,
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc,
Yes.
President Lima,
Yes,
5 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, motion passes.
thanks.
And
Right.
for anybody listening, chapter 191 of our ordinance for the sewer stuff.
Chief? Resolution 2024-43 awarding a purchase of a Ford all-wheel drive SUV administrative police vehicle for the Coventry Police Department. Do I hear a motion to approve the resolution?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Vice President Blank,
Second.
second by Councilman Pasqua. Chief?
So we're looking to purchase a new SUV administrative vehicle from McGovern Municipal. It's for $43,376.80. And the outfitting for it is $4,252.80 for a total of $47,629.60. And that will be paid for out of the CIP account for next year.
Questions for the chief? Hearing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua, Councilmember Capaldi,
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley,
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc,
Yes.
President Lima,
Yes.
5 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, motion passes.
Resolution 2024-44, purchase of a Ford Police Interceptor all-wheel drive SUV for the police department. This is on page 76 in our packets. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Vice President LeBlanc,
Second.
second by Councilmember Shockley. Chief?
This one here is to purchase a patrol vehicle SUV. It's from Colonial Municipal Group. That's for $45,482.40. The outfitting for it is another $25,989.69. Radios from Motorola, $8,681.64. And the graphics for it, $371 for a total of $80,524.73.
Discussion from the council?
That'll be operational.
Vice President
for
LeBlanc.
next year.
Funding,
Operational for next year.
operational.
Any additional discussion? Yes.
And you're coming in front of us now, the fiscal year hasn't ended. But I'm assuming you're just trying to get the order in sooner rather than later?
Yes, correct.
Gotcha.
For next year.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua, Councilmember Capaldi,
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley,
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc,
Yes.
President Lima,
Yes.
5 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, motion passes.
Resolution 2024-45, resolution for hazard mitigation plan update. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Vice President Blank,
Second.
second by Councilman Pasqua. Chief?
So with this one, we went out to bid in May to try and get somebody to update our hazard mitigation plan. It expired in February of 23. We received 2 bids. Out of the 2 bids, the EMA group met and we evaluated both of them. The plan we would like, or the company would like to go with is Fairweather Science. They actually did doing the one for Foster, and they were just recently awarded the one for Exeter and a regional one for Exeter and West Greenwich, that area. Their price came in at $39,940. They had a 6-month faster time turnaround than the other company that had bid for us. They also said that if they could combine a few things in the IFB, that they'd actually probably even get it faster. And it sounds like it was around a 6-month turnaround right now for Foster to get theirs done, to be ready to be submitted to FEMA and FEMA. The funding source for this one, we received a grant from FEMA for this one, and it's a 10% match.
Vice President Blank.
Love grants. Thank you for that.
Councilmember Shockley.
I just want to make sure I understand the bullet correctly. So, Fairweather Science said they can complete a 13 HMP in 2023 that were approved by FEMA. They noted in their references they're currently working on an HMP for Foster. So that's part of their bid for us.
Nope, separate. We did our own bid with them. This just reference.
And is that the grant?
Nope, the grant I applied for with FEMA and received 40,000 to have this completed. We just went out to bid, and then they're the ones we're looking to have do the work for us.
Okay. Sorry, I thought this was a part of the whole when it had that bullet in there.
Nope, that was just a reference that I had followed up on. just
Gotcha.
To give you guys.
Okay, thanks for
information.
perfect. Thanks for the clarification. I appreciate it.
I can't believe we're doing a whole mitigation plan just for where Jamie lives. Any further discussion? Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua, Councilmember Capaldi,
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley,
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc,
I do live on Hazard Street, but yes.
President Lima,
Yes.
5 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, motion passes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. Want to pass the baton to Mr. McGee? Tag in like wrestling. I see your hand up. We have public comment at the end of the agenda. We have resolution number 2024-46, resolution for the purchase of 5 40 cubic yard receiver containers. This is on page 81 in your packets. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Vice President Blank,
Second.
second by Councilmember Shockley. Mr. McGee.
Good evening. This is part of the presentation that I made several months ago about how to alleviate some of the issues we're having with sanitation.
Is the mic on?
Yeah.
Okay.
I could talk louder for you. The issues that we were talking about was trying to extend the life of the sanitation trucks that were having to climb up on the hills, the landfill, having damage. And I'm not saying it's fortuitous, but today we had to have one of our sanitation trucks, one of the 6 that we actually had running, had to have it towed back today because a piece of wire that was covered by paper, one of the trucks ran over it, wrapped itself around the drive shaft, severing air lines, hydraulic lines, seals, and it had ended to be a mattress springs. So that's the type of thing we're trying to eliminate so that we don't have that. And by opening up the transfer station again, so that all the trash trucks will empty here, and only the roll-off trucks will go up to the landfill on top of the hill. The recycle trucks will go to the MRF Center, which is an enclosed building.
Any discussion on the resolution? Hearing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua, Councilmember Capaldi,
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley,
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc,
Yes.
President Lima,
Yes.
5 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, motion passes.
Resolution 2024-47, resolution for the purchase of the 6-yard stationary compactor. That's on page 82 in our packets. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Vice President Blank, second by Councilman Pasqua. Director McGee.
Yeah, this is the existing compactor that we have here at our transfer station. It's owned by a former company that was doing transportation, Rambone. They owned the compactor, but they didn't own the building on top of it. So we didn't take the building down. So they left the compactor there since we started. So we just had it serviced last year. Everything is operational, and we're looking to purchase it rather than lease it from them. It will save us about $10,000. And that's part of the boxes that we're going to be looking at, get the containers, so that we can put this into use.
Vice President Blank.
Can you just confirm the funding source?
This is through ARPA funds.
Any further discussion? Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua, Councilmember Capaldi,
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley,
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc,
Yes.
President Lima,
Yes.
5 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, motion passes.
And resolution 2024-48, resolution to award pavement preservation program. This is on page 83 in our packets. Do I hear a motion to approve?
Make the motion.
Motion by Vice President Blank,
Second.
second by Councilman Pasqua. Director McGee.
Yeah, this is a pavement preservation program
that's used in many other of the rural communities in Rhode Island and in nearby Connecticut and Rhode Island, Massachusetts. What this does, it allows us to take rural streets that are long and wide, and I'll use Cars Trail as an example. If the council was to give us $1 million to do roads, District 1 will only have 200,000. It's $600,000 to repave that entire road. That's 3 years that road would have to be worked on, and nothing else in his district. By doing the pavement preservation, which is chipstone with oil, and then coming back and putting a fog seal over that, it looks the same and has 15-year life. We can do 12 roads in District 1 with the same monies that we would have used for just doing a paving program, a partial paving program. Met with Councilman, with Mr. Parrillo, and explained the situation to him, and I believe he's in favor of us going forward with this as a rural opportunity for us to extend our dollars that we have for roads, and it's something that's done. It was done 30 years ago with an older technology, like what they call an aggregate based. This is a 3-inch stone that when you're riding over it, I want to go back to look at Hill Farm Road and part of Hockney Hill Road about 5-6 years ago was done by that process by this BriDOT, and you can see what it looks like today. You wouldn't even know it wasn't a paved road. So,
Councilman Pasqua?
Yeah, we talked about this. This is a great alternative, and one of the other benefits that I found with this too is it's more porous, and it helps with ponding and pooling of water on a road. So we're always dealing with water issues and drainage issues. So I think this is a great idea, and I'm all for it.
So is this $500,000 plus coming out of ARPA that we already designated in this
Yes.
budget cycle for roads?
The money that would have been allocated from 23, 24, and for this coming year, the money that would be allocated for District 1.
Okay, so we've
using-
already approved this.
Yes.
It's just being more creative with the funding.
stretching the dollar more.
Okay. Understood. Vice President LeBlanc.
Just for clarity, for my own sanity, is this a new technology?
It's a new old technology.
Because I heard the old part.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of focusing on that because I'm wondering why we didn't institute this sooner.
Once again, we've been dealing with, first of all, we weren't spending any money with doing asphalt work for many years. The old macadam is what they used to be, stone steel with oil. They're using, instead of the bigger rock aggregate, they're using a smaller chip seal with the oil base to it. And then once that is completed and rolled, we come back and do a fog seal right over top of it. So you're having 2 layers of, it's going to actually be about a 1/2 inch thick once done. So new technology for today, meeting the new regulations, as opposed to the old macadam that was just a stone oil chip.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua?
Yes.
Councilmember Capaldi?
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley?
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc?
Yes.
President Lima?
Yes.
5 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, motion passes.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good day.
You're not up here for the next one?
Oh.
The Green Bridges?
Yes.
Okay. Resolution 2024-49, resolution to enter into agreement with the State of Rhode Island Department of Transportation for the replacement of Bridge Group 42C-Green Bridges. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Vice President LeBlanc.
Second.
Second by Councilman Pasqua. Director McGee.
And we just got notification this past week from RIDOT that what we thought was going to be a 2-year process for the Cahoon Bridge that was suddenly taken out of commission by RIDOT because of its condition. They expected a 2-year program in order to get it to design and through construction. We were notified this week that it's already through 90% design, and they're looking for the communities, us for the 3. There's Nicholas Farm, there's Cahoon, and there's another one in Maple Valley also. Those are the 3 bridges that consider the green bridges. And they're looking at being able to get started this fall with the approval of councils. So
Discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua?
Yes.
Councilmember Capaldi?
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley?
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc?
Yes.
President Lima?
Yes.
5 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, motion passes.
thank you. Can I go now?
Yes, you can
Thank
go now. You could probably pass the baton to Mr. Hill if I'm not mistaken. Summer Olympics is coming.
So the school reached out to us to use their impact fees to get some smaller projects done outside of the $25 million bond that's upcoming. So I'll let Mr. Hill explain the purchases that they're looking to make with the impact fees.
So this is resolution 2024-50 on page 96 of our packets, purchase of 200 amp service for Western Coventry Elementary, a portable AC unit, repair/rebuild an AC condenser and leaking pump at Coventry High School, replace the library roof at Hopkins Hill School, and install new communication equipment and software at Tioga School at a total cost of $134,951 from impact fees. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Motion by Vice President LeBlanc, second by Councilor Shockley. Mr. Hill.
Yes. We'll start off with the Western Coventry 200 amp service. The boiler room has the main box down there, and there was water coming right in, and the wire is original to the building. And we had a company come out and look at it. It's got to be changed because we have been losing power down there. It's been shorting out. It's an old wire. They have to dig up they have to trench it out and change the piping and all of that. So it's bad news. The portable air conditioner over in the server room at the high school, which is 15 years old, it's just blowing lukewarm. It's needs to be in, especially with this heat. The repair on the condenser at the high school auditorium, there's two of them. One of them is leaking. We have one up and running. I had automatic temperature control come out and to fix the repair and recharge the unit. Was that price there? Just an old unit. The Tioga Elementary School software and equipment is the intercom system over there, which is basically original to that building, and it alerts all the teachers and runs the phone system and the emergency system and contacts the police from Sonatrol and all of that. It's barely working. It goes in and out, gives false readings. So I had a company come in and quote that out and look at that, changing the wires and all of that. And the Hopkins Hill Library roof, which off to the right-hand side, it sits on its own, is just rotted right out. And we've had buckets under the roof and everything like that. So we had a company come out and take a look at that. So, any questions?
Vice President LeBlanc.
First, I always like hearing maintenance projects going through for the schools because the schools definitely need maintenance.
We need it.
So I just wanted to say that. But when you said that you had a company come out, now do you do bids for these
Yes.
projects?
Yes.
Okay, and then are they sealed bids and you're getting 3 to 5 or?
Usually 3, and everyone is either on the MPA, the
Got it. Okay.
yeah, master
perfect.
price agreement.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
Further discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please.
President, one
Yes.
second.
There is,
Mr. Hill, I just wanted to confirm, Mr. Coward sent me an updated price on Tioga.
yes.
So the Tioga School, instead of the 76,193 on line 29, that's going to get reduced to 47,254. And then that changes the line 9 from 134,951 to 106,012.
Do I hear a motion to accept the town manager's amendments?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Vice President LeBlanc,
I'll second.
second by Councilor Shockley. Any discussion on the amendment?
I'm happy for savings.
Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua.
Yes.
Councilmember Capaldi.
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley.
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc.
Yes.
President Lima.
Yes.
5 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, motion passes.
Thank
sorry,
you.
one
Back
more-
to the,
I'm sorry, one more line. For line 41 also has to be 106,012 instead of the 134,951.
does the council accept that as friendly?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Back to the resolution as amended. Any further discussion? Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua.
Yes.
Councilmember Capaldi.
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley.
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc.
Yes.
President Lima.
Yes.
5 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, motion passes.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks, Russ.
We'll now move to public comment for undocketed items. Those present this evening, public comment for those items not on our agenda this evening, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record.
everybody.
Welcome back. Thank you.
Thank you. Kathleen DeCenzo. My husband was John. Oh, what?
No, the mic.
Oh, well, I'm not that tall. My grandson is, but I'm not. Okay, you are, no, really, it's great to listen to all this again, but, okay. Like I said, I live off Old North Road, and that's become a, how do I say it? A raceway. Nobody stops at the 4 stops. Speaking with other people within that, I live in Mulhern there, the senior citizens. They said there was an accident with a hit and run with an older man one day, but they never found the person that hit him. So, I guess that was one thing. I go up to, the other side of the pond, and, I see they have one of those solar stops. I don't know. There's 4 right there. I don't think you want to do 4, but maybe 1 or 2.
You're
might
talking
be-
about the end of Rawlinson Drive. on Kyle.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. It just, it just blows my mind that people don't know what the word stop means. So, I wish somebody could do something about it. And like I said, the cops stood with me, and at least 12 people, motorcycles and otherwise, either come down Old North Road from the Ty Oak or come the other direction. It's a big cut through for Walmart and all those stores up there. The other thing was a tree fell. It was so rotted, it was black. I called our serviceman. He did push it to one side, but at one point you could only put 1 car in and 1 car out. And if it ever had hit someone's car or a person walking there, it would have been a disaster. And somebody told me that that property prior to where I live is owned by the town. And you can't even, when you come out of Mulhern Lane, you go and look to the left, you can barely see somebody coming down that hill. And I don't know, I'd like to have somebody do something about it. I was a taxpayer for 40 odd years. We did have a home, but now I'm there. But I'm not gaga about that place either. So that's another. I also found out it's not owned by Coventry. Coventry just manages it. It's owned by a man in New York City. So a lot of things are left. And I don't get it. I don't get it. I pay over $800 for 2 rooms, and there's 90 of us in there. So come on, there's something. They don't follow through. I've gone to the manager of the place. They don't follow through with stuff. They just don't. And it's a shame. I worked my whole life since I was 15. So did, my husband at one time. So, as that, I've been a Coventry resident for 50 years. And I just hope somebody can do something. Even the cop was standing there with me talking, and people were just,
Oh, Vice
and-
President Blank.
I'm not sure we can actually request this, but if that could go to the traffic committee, I would certainly appreciate it.
Yeah, just something.
Yeah.
Anything. I'm not asking for 4 of them there. I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, that's going to look stupid. But at least 1 coming out of Mulhern or the other, I didn't mean to point.
No worries.
I'm sorry. Coming up the other way. You know what I mean? Like, just, it's people are terrible, terrible drivers in Rhode Island.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not originally from Rhode Island, but.
Your accent might have given it away.
Yes, yes. I reared my children here, and, and our oldest daughter, I'm very proud of her. She's working at Hasbro, but she was in the Navy 23 years. She left Coventry and went right in the Navy, blah, 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 And my other one works with the special needs at the Trudeau Center for the past 10 years. So I'm very proud of my kids, and they learned it from here. One lives in Coventry, the other lives in Warwick, but, I like it. I like it here, but some things just aren't kosher right now.
Thank you
your
for coming.
time.
Yes, thank you for coming forward. I believe the town manager took down all the notes of what you've
All right,
mentioned, and
thank
we'll
you.
follow up.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to be, but I wish more people should be here to help you guys.
I agree.
No, really. No, I mean, I'm sure if, knock on wood, if John was here, he would be. Because he was very much involved with Old Home Days and haunted houses and all that other stuff. And my brother-in-law is Mr. Riley, Andrew Riley, who was a teacher here in Coventry in the VOTEC. And he's still in Coventry near the high school. So I'm just saying, you know, we're here. All right, thank you.
Thank you for your comment.
Thank you.
Any other?
Anytime.
Oh, of course. Thanks. If you could, I believe the gentleman behind you was going to come up, and I just wanted to give other folks a chance.
Good evening, folks.
If you just state your name and address for the record, please.
I'm going to bring us back to the tax rule that we.
Could you just state your name and address for the record, please? Name and address for the record.
Joseph T. Daniels, 92 Greenwood Bush Road, Coventry, Rhode Island. And I'm part of the 286 people who was not here to sign the paper so that I can continue using my exemption. I've been here 27 years. I've been on the road for 15 of those years. I also built a house in Florida for my father after my mother died because he wanted to be down there with relatives. And I bought him a house, and eventually he passed away, and I kept the house because I was getting pretty close to retiring. And me and my wife enjoyed the weather down there. And of course, it's a different type of life altogether. I was told in the letter that I received down there was about in the mail for 3 or 4 weeks. And I got it, and I called the office of the tax appraisers, and they said that I broke the law, so I was probably a felon. I'm not sure, you know, because I looked at this law when I got back, and it says, we're living in an area where the law was made in 1870. It's a little out of date. And I guess over the years, the people have punctured it and done anything they could probably do with it. But this state and town is where I brought up and lived. And let's see, my exemption was changed that because I was not here to sign a paper. Last time I was told what to do, when to do it was when I was in the service. This is America. It's a free world for us. And we can't even, we gotta be in a certain place at a certain time to keep an exemption that we paid for over the years. Remember, everybody that's on that exemption carried this town for all these years before the younger people started coming in droves. And now we're taking care of the children and the schools, and the tax rates going up, and inflation is going wild. And I'm in a position now where I would probably have to leave my home, which I built myself 27 years ago. Now, I guess what I'm asking for, and it's not only for me, is that the board take up some kind of a investigation on this law, because it's way out of date. People go on vacation now if they're retired. I don't have to be back here for that time, you know. And then I got taken off because I wasn't here in March night. And it says in that law that you must live in Coventry for 9 months, which is ridiculous because people travel all over the world now, and they stay for a lot longer than a month. I can remember when I was a kid, we used to, big time was to get a vacation, to go down to Matunic for a day. One day. Now, I guess what I'm asking for is a one-time exemption for myself and my wife, who almost died before we got back. But it lasted a week and she is still in recovery, where a doctor punctured her lower intestine when she had a colonoscopy. So she's still under doctor's care for that. She spent 3 weeks in a hospital and in rehab and other rehab. And this is why I had more important things to do than go sign a paper. I was more concerned about my wife dying. She came close one day. So, I also feel that someone should be advised that, I believe it's pre-justice on older people. I don't see any younger people on the roads, disability people, anybody with a disability that can't do anything. I don't see them on the roads. I don't see, it borders on not knowing what the description is for, what do you call it? Tongue tied, I waited too long. Discrimination. I was at Brown University for 24 years. I had various jobs where I was in different areas doing different types of jobs. And that's when I figured I had to be there because I had a lot of responsibilities, like you folks. I don't know what else to tell you. I definitely would like to see somebody look into this. We're talking about people that actually carried this town when there was nobody here, and the boards that they had at the time were common people that didn't have the knowledge to be there. So I'm not saying that they were wrong. They were doing a public service, which, I can appreciate. And there's never, in public service, there's never a clean slate. Everybody's getting pounced on for something that they didn't do. I realized it, or didn't know about. That's why I'm asking for this exemption. And I sold the house down in Florida because I'm gonna get slammed with medical bills that wouldn't, and they're gonna have to be paid, of course. But I'm going on 80 years old. I just want to live my life as I've been living it, and who knows, maybe I'll live to be 110. But this is what I'm asking you for, just to put me back where I was. I was very happy there. I do not have the money to, with the inflation, the taxes going up, and I can't understand why I wouldn't have had to abide by this law for the last 15 years. And now all of a sudden they took me off and pushed me way ahead for the tax rate for next year. All right, thank you for your consideration. I hope I incited some people, but I think it would be a good time to throw some money into that bill and take a good look at it and bring it up to date. Is there any questions I can answer for anybody? I really feel that, they're coming after me.
Thank you. This isn't an item on our agenda, so we can't litigate this or make a decision for you, but we appreciate you coming in and making your case.
Okay. And is there gonna be a future for this?
There'll be future discussions about that policy, but I don't know what agenda it'll be on at this time. I can't tell.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Are there any other members, public comment? Jerry, I love you. There's fireworks starting at 9 o'clock.
I'm out of here, sir.
Okay.
Hey, guys, I hope you don't take it wrong in the things I say. It's very dear and near to my heart. I've been at it for a long time. We've had many problems over the years. I so much appreciate what you guys do. I see all your meetings. I'm on Zoom or I'm here. Please don't take it wrong when somebody speaks on things that they feel so passionate about. So I'll leave you at that. Congratulations on making the whole night. And appreciate your time.
Members of the public in council chambers, anyone else, public comment? Members of the public on Zoom, public comment on undocketed items, raise your hand to be let in. Last call, going once, twice, 3 times. Public comment on undocketed items is now closed. Moving on to introduction of new matters before the council. Item A, contract renewal for Studio Jade for architect and engineering consulting services. Do I hear a motion to approve the contract renewal?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Councilor Shockley,
I'll second.
second by Vice President LeBlanc. Mr. Conti? Or Mr. Parrillo, do you want to tee this up?
So this is the contract for Studio Jade as the introduction to hopefully our school bond moving forward, our projects moving forward. I know Mr. Conti's already provided us kind of the list of what's going to happen in the timeframes. Unfortunately, we really kind of got delayed from where we thought. We thought we'd be starting this summer, but obviously we're not. I think once our final audits are complete, we'll be able to work with Mr. Massaroni and get this ball rolling. So this is, again, I think step one in the process to move forward on that bond. And I know the solicitor has looked over the contract. I provided it to you guys tonight, and I'll leave it at that.
Did you want to say a couple things?
Sure. So good evening, everyone. It's good to see you all again. So when the RFP went out for qualifications for the stage 2, it gave Coventry the option to extend that award into stage 3 upon a successful stage 2 application, a RIDE approval, and a subsequent successful bond vote, all of which you achieved. So congratulations. I'm very happy to continue on working with Coventry through stage 3 of the projects that were part of the stage 2. The key to this is to maintain the incentives that you would qualify for, which is to have either a design professional or a construction manager under contract by the end of June 2024, which is where we're at now. So happy to answer any questions.
Discussion from the council. Vice President Blank.
And there's a deadline at the end of June. If this wasn't approved tonight, is there any negative impacts to that?
Speak to that, but from what I know of RIDE, I believe you would potentially lose 5% of that bond.
You'd lose the incentives, the extra 5% reimbursement.
In dollar amount for the taxpayers? Roughly.
5% of 25 million.
Gotcha. Okay. Got it. I just wanted the council and taxpayers to know.
Discussion, further discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua, Councilmember Capaldi,
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley,
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc,
Yes.
President Lima,
Yes.
5 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And lastly, approval of Narragansett Electric to be granted permission to locate and maintain poles, wires, and fixtures, including the necessary sustain and protecting fixtures to be owned and used in common by you petitioner along and across the following public ways. A, Poor Farm Road, installing 40-foot class 3 pole, 105-foot P550 south from P5 towards P6, installing anchor guy on P550 with a 5-foot lead east. Do I hear a motion to approve the request?
Make a motion.
Motion by Vice President Blank, second by Councilman Pasqua. Any discussion? I just looked at Councilman Capaldi because that seat is where the poll comment's supposed to come from. If there's no discussion, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua.
Yes.
Councilmember Capaldi,
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley,
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc,
Yes.
President Lima,
Yes.
5 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, motion passes.
And at this time, I'll seek a motion to adjourn at 8:40 p.m.
Make a motion.
Motion by Vice President Blank, second by Councilman Pasqua. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. The chair votes aye. We stand adjourned.